Starting a trip here in the Canadian bush, leaving the warmth and security of the car behind. Aaron's with me for the night, but tomorrow I'll have to continue on my own. With wet snow falling, the decision is made to find somewhere to camp sooner than later, and after a couple of kilometers, we spot a nice jack pine stand across this pond. There's a bit of water moving through the pond, so I go ahead without my load to test the ice. With lots of standing dead timber and an open stream for water, it's the perfect camp to start this trip off.
Our annual New Year's trip.
Yeah.
Even though it's New Year's Day.
Yeah. Close enough.
Close enough.
Getting set up quickly here. This Downs little tree will be a good bipod for the stovepipe. It's a beautiful day out here. It's mild and we've got this beautiful snow falling down, but that also means that everything gets soaked because we're so close to zero and with our body heat. So we're pretty soaked through today. So it's a good day to kind of hunker down early, get the fire going and try and dry ourselves out. Having potato and corn chowder tonight, and we haven't really eaten since breakfast, so. Pressure cooker.
Excuse me. Oh, there's that sizzle.
Nice to have a source of moving water here. A lot more efficient than boiling snow. Smell it a bit in here.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bread.
Yeah. My buddy Justin in Thunder Bay was generous enough to give us some of his loaves of homemade sourdough for the holidays, so we brought some out here to enjoy. Thanks, Justin.
Aaron's using a fine split as a stir stick. It's just, whoa, a bunch of snow just fell on the tent. Just one less thing to wash and burn it after. May have missed the boat by a day, but we got some sparkling wine chilling outside.
Try not to blow a hole through our tent.
Or my eyeballs.
Here goes. It's not going towards you. It might bounce off on you, though.
It did. To the new year.
Got a lot to look forward to.
How was it? Pretty good.
Just real good on that bread.
Even on its own. Yeah, I like it. Fall asleep right now. I'm gonna stop the camera. It must be stopped. Okay.
That time?
Snooze time's over. Up in good time. Got a lot to do today. Having the chowder again this morning. So good. Might as well finish it up. Gotta fuel up today. Got at least 6 kilometers to the lake I want to camp on. And if I go 8 kilometers, then I can be even better positioned. So, see how far I get. And then set up, get firewood, all that stuff. So, it's a lot when you're alone. Alright, getting everything packed up, scraping the sleds clean, otherwise they drag like crazy, and we get going.
So we're all packed up. I'm heading home. About 100 meters to travel together, and then we gotta go our separate ways. Alright, John's just coming up with his load. I've got to take off because I've got a job. So I'm heading into work tomorrow and heading home, and John's going to carry on for another couple days. So this is where we'll say goodbye. Stay safe.
I will.
Okay. Love ya.
There she goes, out of sight. On my own for the rest of the trip. Take the snowshoes off, just put them on to get out from our camp. Back on this packed trail now. Got some distance to cover. Well, better than the way up. Plugging along here, just finished a 150-foot incline. Got to send the sled down the backside. 300 feet of elevation gain on this trail. Now I'm kind of heading down into the lakes. Almost there. Alright, made it to the lake, and now I have to find somewhere to camp. Less than 2 hours of daylight left, but yeah, no trail out onto the lake. Don't know what the ice conditions are, slush. So I'm hoping to just cruise down the shoreline a little ways and set up camp somewhere there. Ice seems pretty good, and in January, at this latitude, it should be safe to travel on, but you never know. I was actually here ice fishing with a buddy, Paul, last winter, and he went through out of nowhere. Like, there was no explanation for it. I know all the reasons why there would be open water. Anyway, it's a little unnerving having snowshoes on, being here alone. No sign of humans coming in here this winter. Snowmobile trucks stopped at the edge of the lake there, and it's going to be dark in an hour and a half. So I'm inclined to just play it safe, get a base camp set up somewhere safe. If I did go through the ice, I'm confident I can rescue myself, but the difference of having a shelter to go to where there's firewood and not is massive. So I'm just gonna keep going along the shoreline, hopefully find something soon. So nice to be on a big open lake again. Another bigger lake past this one, which I hope to get to on this trip. Can't find anywhere yet. Lots of good places to set up the tent, but no fuel. I'm looking for somewhere where there's gonna be lots of firewood because the temperatures are supposed to drop quite a lot after tonight, but tonight's another mild one, so I could get away with just the tarp if need be. Left the toboggan behind there to cover a little ground and scout. There is one spot there, so I can come back to that. There's not a lot of fuel, but a little. Get me started anyway. Back in the woods there, I can see two standing dead trees with their tops on. A little bit of a mission, but at least they're not too far, so I think I'll take that spot. It's very ideal, very scenic. Has a sunrise and sunset view, which is not saying much because this time of year, almost the darkest time of year, early January, the sun just kind of creeps over the horizon. You don't get much of it, but it's really nice to make the most of what you do get. I miss the sun, I really do. I've been inside the last few weeks, got COVID, I'm nursing a knee injury, so I could do with for some sunshine. Just had a look, and this looks really ideal. I'm gonna take it. Gonna stamp down some trails while I've got my snowshoes on. Hygienic trails, firewood, down to the lake, and then it'll lock up. I won't need the snowshoes, at least around camp. Getting the skirt buried, snow anchors in, and I'm really grateful that it is a mild night tonight because I just don't have the energy to process a bunch of firewood. It'll be a short night for me. Have some cheese and crackers, maybe a little sip of scotch, and hit the hay. Yeah, I don't know if it was COVID or what, but my energy is struggling. It's okay. I've got time tomorrow. All I have to do is process a lot of firewood. I can do that. Feels really good to have the tent up, shelter. Tomorrow I'll have heat. For now this will do. And I'm going to swap out my boot liners. This is really handy to have. Oh man. I felt pretty low when I got here. Knee injury, just sore. Thought it was okay. Apparently my rehab has only begun. And yeah, just shelter, food, and a hot glass of water really lifts the spirits.
think it's only 7 o'clock or so, but I'm ready to drift off, wake up in good time, process so much firewood, and that'll be a really good feeling. A little after 7, been awake since 6:30, but had a really good long sleep. Went to bed at 7, so still an hour till first light, and then I can start working. Eagerly awaiting sunrise here. Looking at this app I have, Sun Path Demo it's called, because it's the free version. And I can see the sunsets right over there. And it's going to rise right over there. So I'll be able to see it all from this spot, which is a big reason why I chose it. Who doesn't love a sunrise sunset campsite? Some easy ones like this. They don't burn for terribly long, but so little invested to get one. Take them. That's where I came in yesterday, and something walked down my tracks. Looks like probably a fox. Relatively straight line, not too big. Yeah. Drag the first log out from back there, have another one, 2 decent pieces, there's more to this, 3 small ones from behind camp, and there's 1 big one back there. It's the only big one around, which is the densest, best firewood that I'll have. Here's the second one. Here it is. This really nice spruce. I hope it's in good condition. Really dependent on it for a lot of my fuel, because this thick trunk is going to have the densest fiber compared to anything I've cut so far. Going to burn a lot longer, and for the nights, the cold nights where I need to burn through the night, that's really important. There we go. There's the wedge. Fiber looks decent. Sometimes it can be more rotten down here than higher up. You never know. But anyway, it looks worth taking down. Almost done cutting through it. And I've set it up to fall hopefully right in this gap out toward the lake. If it falls into these trees, it's going to get really hung up. Let's see if it's ready. Yep, here it's going to go. Gotta be really careful. A lethal amount of weight here. Firewood! I'm going to limb this guy, come back to process it after a good meal. Really needed a good hearty lunch before I set into this one. This is going to be a lot of work. Probably take a good 2 hours to process it. So here are the logs I have so far, except for the really big one. Just cutting the thinner ends off for a quick fire for lunch. Save the thicker parts for overnight burning and much colder temperatures. Still nice and mild. Not gonna last though. Got everything ready for lunch. Got a fire ready to light in the stove. Just need to get some water. And we'll bury this whole hole in snow, and it'll stay open. Snow will insulate it. I won't have to drill again. Probably I'll trip, as long as I do a good enough job of burying it. Oh, this is gonna feel so good. The meal especially. I'm having penne, and it's just what I'm craving, and I cannot wait. So woodpecker hammering their way behind camp. Red poles, chickadees, crow, lots of tracks in the snow. Ah, this is peaceful. Lots of dehydrated goodies to put in this penne. Tomato, mushroom, dehydrated spinach, and dehydrated sauce. Can't wait to sink my teeth into this. So good. And coffee for dessert. Alright, feel much better after that injection of fuel. I'm going to saw this big guy up and just cut it in kind of half here. It's really too heavy to move right now. Here. There's the first round off of this beautiful tree. It's at least 50 years old. Counted the rings on it. Actually took a photo of the tree with my phone and then counted them there because you can zoom in, it's easier. I can't tell, there are a few more years on the exterior where it's starting to rot, indiscernible, but yeah, it's at least 50 years old, so it's a feeling of gratitude for this old tree to, well, not even that old, but still older than me, to heat my little home for the next couple of days. Beautiful, really good condition. Oh. That one's still a pig. Luckily, not too far to get back to camp. Already getting kind of dark. It's 3 o'clock, hour and a half, daylight left, and then a bit of dusk, but yeah, all I did was process some firewood. I haven't even finished sawing it, I mostly just collected it and had a quick lunch. Crazy, where does the day go? Oh my goodness, what a piggy. And I was mistaken there. I was counting the rings in the middle of the tree, so I'm sure further down there are even more. Anyway, still really good condition. Thank goodness. I would have had a lot of small trees if this one wasn't here. Cutting a little bit off just to make it more manageable to haul back. It is heavy. One more. Okay. Here are those 3 big rounds. And this is it. One big piece here that I'll use for splitting against. Should keep me going for a while. That is nice. There's a real feeling of wealth when you're out here and you have a good stack of firewood. Still got to split enough for tonight, tomorrow morning at least, but the most of the work is done. Still have 2 big logs here. I'll do them later. This is good enough for now. You can feel the temperature dropping. It's supposed to be minus 20 overnight. Feels like minus 30 in the morning with the wind chill. These fine splits are invaluable for fire starting. last thing to do, and I can call it a day. Light the stove, cook dinner. Cold breeze blowing across the lake, and that wind is supposed to pick up. Alright, got enough firewood in there for this evening, maybe tomorrow morning. Hopefully I don't have to burn through the night. See how cold it gets. Make sure legs are secure, fluid damper's open, and the payoff. Black bean burgers tonight. I do it kind of scrambled egg style since I use naan, so it doesn't have to be like a perfect patty. So hungry. Food is just amazing on this trip. Maybe it's because I'm getting my taste back after COVID, or I'm just really tired and food tastes so good out here when you're tired. Both maybe. So last year I did my first week-long solo in winter, and it was a really special trip. On that trip I shared some of Tolkien's riddles from The Hobbit, which I love. Amazing chapter in The Hobbit. And I wanted to do that again. So I looked up online some other riddles, especially like nature-themed riddles, and I couldn't find any that weren't just a really bad pun or really juvenile. Here's an example, which is pretty characteristic of what I was finding. What month are trees afraid of? September. So, obviously I couldn't use anything like that. That's dreadful. So I took a stab at making my own. They might also be dreadful, but I think a little less. So here it goes. Here's the first riddle of this trip. Up and down it goes and goes. Its puppet master above has nearly froze. In vain he wiggles his wooden toes. Hot breath in the fingers he blows and blows. He sits and ponders the puppet he chose, for where his quarry is, God only knows. Upon a string his hopes turn to woes, as the beast nearby eats elsewhere and grows. Can you guess it? The thing I learned about writing riddles is you know the answer. It's impossible to gauge how easy or hard it is. It might be really easy, but I think if you do the thing it's describing, you'll know. And if you don't, it might be hard. Anyway, I hope it's fun. Cheers. Time for bed. I'll take a hot water bottle in to the sleeping bag with me. And hopefully go through the night without running the stove. Latest forecast I got on my SATCOM device is -17 for the low. I can do that without the stove. It's nice waking up with water in the thermos, coffee right away, fire on. It's early, I don't know, maybe 6 a.m. But I woke up and had the call of nature when you don't want it. So I was awake, figured I'd get the fire going, get all my breakfast stuff done while it's dark, and then make the most of daylight. It's supposed to be some sunshine today, and I can hear the wind over there. The wind has picked up, but beautifully sheltered here. Oh man, that's a nice ambiance. Wind blowing outside, fire crackling. Kettle steaming. Veggie curry, dehydrated for breakfast. Alright, it's getting late out and it's time for a little adventure. I want to get to the next lake today. I'm going to stay here in base camp. It's just too hard on my knee to haul the entire outfit, not to mention it's just a ton of work. Obviously I've got all this firewood here I'm not going to abandon. So, I'll just do day trips. Got the bathymetry map for this lake. I hope to do some ice fishing on this trip. It's going to be too cold today and tomorrow. Hopefully after it'll warm up. And then this is the next lake. Let's have a look. So here's the lake I'm on. I came in on this trail. These are old forestry roads, which are now recreational trails in their current state. Snowmobiles, ATVs. There's a 200-foot basin right there. I came along the shore here. This is where my buddy fell in last year. In a strange spot. It was like 30 feet of water. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense that a spring would cause that. But anyway. I came around here, and this is where I finally found somewhere nice to camp. And I'm really tucked in away from the wind and everything on the big lake. But I want to see it all. So I'm going to come along the shore, work my way up, and then through here there's a channel into the next lake. I'm kind of worried about ice conditions there because there's definitely going to be moving water between the two water bodies. Here's the next map. It is kind of faint. These were surveyed. This one was surveyed in the late 60s. This one surveyed in the 70s. It's hard to see, sorry, but anyway. Carries on through here. And I want to come up kind of into these islands. It just looks beautiful. This lake isn't quite as deep. I think it maxes out around 40, maybe 50 feet. But hopefully I can just get into this patch. That'd be 5 kilometers to get there, and then 5 kilometers back. It'd be a nice day for me. I'm ready to head out. It's only about -10 right now. I just checked the thermometer, and I don't think it got much colder than that, which is really a huge divergence from the forecast, which was supposed to be closer to -20. But I don't care. It means I have a lot more firewood, and I might have enough right here to last me the rest of the trip. I might not have to get any more, so that's good news. Still supposed to get really cold the next couple of days, but today's decent. Hopefully the sun breaks through. It's breezy and chilly, but a good day for hiking around. Pretty cold out here in the wind, but beautiful. I have this lake all to myself. I can see most of it from here. And the conditions are great. There's almost no slush. I'm coming up to the narrows between these lakes, and I'll have to be cautious. I've got safety gear, change of clothes. I've got picks in my kangaroo pocket. So I'm prepared, but I still really don't want to go through the ice. The narrows are right there. They're wide open. I can see that from here. Gonna have to try and skirt along the edge of it. Too hot. Should be able to get through here on the side, I think. It's not far, just there. Wide open. Lots of fresh snowshoe hair tracks. One of the easiest tracks to identify. And that is a perfect track there for reference. Amazing how they float. Whoa! Right on cue. I sink right into the edge there. It's really shallow, but yeah. It's amazing how they float. These narrows continue for a while. Doesn't look open, but I'm gonna hug the shoreline until I get to the main lake. Just about through the narrows, and then I get to lay eyes on this lake for the first time. What a lake. What a privilege. What a reward. So glad I'm here. I live for this. Some people love travel or trying new restaurants or the theater, or coffee shops, whatever. And those are all great things. I live to see new lakes. So it's always a thrill. It just makes me feel good. This is so weird to see here. It looks like an old corner post marker for an old mining claim. Wow. Looks very old. Solid. Sun's breaking through somewhere over there. It's not hitting me, but it is lighting up the top of the hill over there, and I'm quite jealous. This wind has me pretty chilled. It's almost time to start heading back, but lovely to see some blue sky again finally. What a scene, and what a rock. From afar it looked almost like an ice fishing shack, and I was really surprised to see it. But up close, it's nothing like that shape. It's weird how distance can be so deceiving. Really unique. With the wind up like this and the sky clearing, it's a sure sign that cold temperatures are coming in. I'm gonna get back. This is the end point for me. Got what I wanted to do done. It's time to get back to the warm fire. Great little day trip. Sun is out here. Camp looks so beautiful. Just gonna make a few more splits, make sure I have enough for tonight and tomorrow morning, and call it a half rest day. place to be right now. The tent position is perfect. Sun is coming right through this slit in the door. It's beautiful in here. Time to get some dinner on. Should be another amazing meal. Poutine. Gravy packet. Cheesy hash browns. Oh. Door's letting in a breeze, but it's worth it. The sun's just setting so slowly over the horizon. Great day. Just keeps getting more beautiful. There's a big moon over there through the trees. Wooden evening. Beautiful sunset. Candles lit. Scotch is out. It's time for a riddle. Riddle number 2. This thing is hard and smooth as rock. Builds with no tool, block by block. Shrinks and grows but will not bend. Crack it you may, but no need to mend. A window to behold the world below. A place where the sky will never snow. Locks away a precious resource. Quickly it comes to the sailor's remorse. Oh yeah. Cheers. Cold night, but avoided running the stove, so that's good for my firewood and my sleep. I have to wake up every 90 minutes basically to stoke the stove if I want to keep it going all night, which I might tonight. It's supposed to be even colder. Got a thermometer here, 22 below, 23 below. Frozen water is coming back to life. Beautiful. Cold temps aren't stopping the birds. Chirping away there. So nice. What a beautiful morning. If you live in a country where you never experience these temperatures, you might think it just seems awful, but there's really a magic to it. It's so pristine and raw. I love a clear, cold morning. I really do. Working on some breakfast burritos on this beautiful morning, and we're going to do an ink blot test. Tell me what you see. A flock of geese in a flying V. That's all I got. I'm pretty one-dimensional, you know? I pretty much only care about nature. Just beautiful. Let's take this thermometer inside. Let's see what the temperature is like in here. So it leveled out around 12 degrees Celsius, about 55 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is as representative as a location in the hot tent as I can get, but it varies so widely. I hang everything up top because it's much hotter up there. Right here, it's much hotter. But yeah, it's a comfortable temperature for wearing a sweater, and way more comfortable than outside. Still got these 2 big logs to saw up, and it's a good thing to do while it's nice and cold like this. Warm up, get her done. Yep, cutting through a big log like this, warm you up fast. That's nice. Sun feels amazing too. Working my way down this pile, and this is the biggest one I have. Here's where I cut down the bigger tree, and see how she splits. Oh yeah, really, that is some satisfying. Yeah. Oh, streak's over. Oh. We had a good run. It's that big mama. Look at this beautiful pile. Tons of fine splits. And I saved a couple of big flat splits for a cutting board. It's time for the next order of business. After lunch, some fishing. It's still pretty cool, but it's calm, sunny, good conditions for it. That looks better. Let's go. Just gotta finish my tea first. Not a ton of time left in the day, so no need to waste time traveling. This spot will work fine. Camp's right back there if I get cold.
lake and lake trout. Lots of things you could use. I'll go with this big silver and gold spoon. First size fishing I've done this season, actually. Nice pinch point here between the main basin of the lake over there and this big bay. Nice little trough here in between. So here's where I am, and I'll probably be in about 20 feet of water. I don't have a sonar with me, it's just too heavy to bring in. But this is a 10-foot contour interval. And this lake actually has a write-up on it from when it was surveyed back in July 11th, 1967. Always love these old surveys. It's pretty cool. This lake is approximately 30 air miles northwest of White River. It can be reached by taking an abandoned Ontario Paper Company road at mileage 8 on Highway 614. It's cool. The hole freezes over pretty quickly, but it's not bad out. It's so calm. That's the 200-foot basin over that way. I might try there tomorrow if this doesn't work out. Just looking to keep one. Well, I'm feeling the cold. Can't resist the hot tent any longer. I'm gonna head back. Try again tomorrow, hopefully. Conditions permit. So no fish to bring home today, but I do have a riddle to offer. Tonight's riddle. Within my little winter's nest, sparkling treasures inside a chest. These worthless jewels, to me beyond price, shivering captive of snow and ice. Hours I spent to feed its hunger, bucking and splitting its rations asunder. With caution, I open its creaking door and admire the gold of my wintry chore. Ow. Oh. 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 Ooh. Oh, that hurt. Original hole still wide open. And while I'm here, use a little face wash. These gloves are waterproof, that's why I love them. Oh, brain freeze. Woo. Back to the tent. Could be a long night. It's cold. I warmed up here in the tent and pour myself a hot chocolate. Just noticed it says best before December 13th, 2020. Weren't we all? Non-calzones on the menu tonight with those dehydrated vegetables. Beautiful, clear night. Really looking forward to getting up in the night and looking at the stars. There's already a big moon out, nearly full, and that's going to wash out a fair bit of it, but there'll still be a lot of stars, I'm sure. When it's cold like this, it usually means for really clear nights, and it's, yeah, amazing stargazing. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll be running the stove all night, so that makes it a lot easier to go stargazing when I can come back here and warm up. There was some leftover liquid from rehydrating the tomato, mushroom, and spinach. And it makes a pretty nice broth, which I would just drink, but I'm dipping this. I gotta say, it's pretty gourmet. Only 7:45, already 22 below. Same as last night at the coldest, so should be a cold night. Let's check out the stars.
Hear that pop? There's an amazing phenomenon when it's this cold where trees and ice pop from freezing. And I somehow let the stove go out at 3 a.m. I woke up and it was getting pretty cold, so I missed my alarm or forgot to reset it when I stoked the stove. So, all good now, and I've been waiting to put this log in the fire. Just look at it. What a beautifully clean bit of rot in the middle. Kind of in a T. I'm looking forward to putting it in the fire and watching how the fire reacts to that hole. Granola with nuts and fruit this morning for the coffee. Powdered milk. A few weeks ago I bought a new toy. It's an infrared camera. I've always wanted one, to see the world in infrared, which our eyes can't see obviously. And this is my first time using it with the stove and hot tent. I'm really excited to see what that looks like. Okay. Stove is about 400 degrees Celsius. That's actually the maximum of the temperature range. Doesn't go any higher. So I'm assuming it'll be, whoa, yeah, white hot in there. This isn't necessarily meant to measure fires, more so like hot spots in a home. So that's pretty extreme heat, but yeah, that's so cool. And let's have a look outside. Gotta switch it to the cold mode. Changes the range. Okay. Oh, my wood pile is looking mighty cold. The thermometer itself is reading minus 34. It says minus 27 or 28. Here's the jack pine beside camp. You can see the trunk is warmer. Find that really cool. And the stovepipe. Again, those temps are maxing out because I'm measuring cold temperatures now. Oh, the woods look cold back there. And finally, I want to see the hot tent. That's pretty cool. If I switch it back to heat measuring mode, there's almost no return. There's just no heat to be found out here. Look at that. The world just turns black. Yet another fun thing to do when it's cold.
obvious snowshoe hair tracks here. And back there, fox, I believe, in a straight line. Fox. End of the bay, time to head back. John, look. That's a stump. I think it just moved. That's a stump. Yeah, I thought it might be like... never mind. I like that we have the same outfit, but you have a hat. John? John! John! Back to camp with my 6 days of bedhead and hat hair, and I've got veggie Mexican quinoa, coffee, and then it's time to fish. It's just been too cold this morning. If you're wondering why I don't leave set lines on the ice, it's because the hole freezes over, it gets all iced up. I don't use live bait, could use cut bait, but I can't be bothered, and I only use barbless hooks, so that's not a great approach for set lines. Got my issues with live bait. Used to use them when I was young, but it just doesn't sit well with my conscience anymore. Keep minnows, worms in containers, haul them out in either hot conditions or too cold. Could be icing up in conditions like this, only to be impaled with a hook and gobbled up by a monstrous fish, and potentially reused if it's still alive after that fish takes it. So I don't know, that just seems really cruel to me, but it's free country. Beautiful skies. Back to the same spot as yesterday. Could try many other spots, the deep basin over there, but don't want to waste too much time traveling. It's going to get fairly dark and cold again soon, so plus I think it is a pretty good bet at this pinch point. Might as well try it. My old hole from yesterday is frozen over. I guarantee I won't be able to break it. Looks quite beautiful. Yeah, that's so solid. It's good to leave it open when it's cold so it can freeze over. Clearing off the ice here to let some more light through. I'm going to send the camera down, see if there's anything to see underneath. A few of my favorites: little lipless cranks, tube jigs, spoons, and the Seville vibrato. Those are four of my most commonly used ice fishing lures. Long neck pliers, hemostat's always handy for a quick release if needed. Today I'll go with the little Cleo silver and green. It's a lure I like a lot for lake trout, and pike will bite anything, so no need to fuss about them. In summer, it's a lot easier to do a healthy release if you are practicing catch and release, but it is tough in winter. Hole's already freezing over, so imagine what a fish's slime and scales do when they're thrashing around on the ice. If they're being released, it's really important that it happens fast in these conditions, but better yet to keep them. Clouds are moving in and the breeze is picking up. I'm worried it's going to get cold pretty soon, so now I'm antsy to move. And try one of the basins, either the 40-foot basin over there or the 200-foot basin over there. 40 feet is actually a good depth for lake trout. A lot of people will go very deep, but 40 feet can be really effective. That's closer to camp as well. But first, There's a little slope over there. Now that that's out of my system, it's time to go to a basin. What do you think? 40 foot or 200 foot? 200 foot it is. I brought in my sonar and ice fishing camera last year. On the sonar I noticed a really steep drop. I sent the camera down and there was like an underwater cliff here. So hopefully I'm on that spot again. I marked it on a map on my phone. Switched up to a tube jig, nothing's happening. I'm getting sufficiently cold. You might be wondering why I don't set the hot tent up on the ice and fish within it. It's quite a hassle to move it, and I had enough on my plate on this trip already. I do hope to do it later this season. But also running the stove, especially overnight, on the ice can become pretty wet and slippery, so yeah, another time. Back to camp. One last pause before I pull it out. Never know. No. This is more my cup of tea. One last call to the watering hole. I'll let it freeze over now. Last night, after getting back to camp, I had a much needed power nap after last night's half sleep. I had dinner, got water for the last time. Just feels like falling into a beautiful routine here. And I realized how many times I've used the word beautiful on this trip to describe just mundane things. And I got to thinking today, I think it's more beautiful right now than it would be in summer. And summer is my preference, don't get me wrong. But the raw beauty of it in winter, I think it's even more beautiful. Anyway, I've enjoyed this trip. Sad to see it end, but there's still a lot of winter left, so that's alright. Riddle number 4. I think this is the toughest one. Across the land, this ephemeral paint envelops all in pale crystal skin. Outside the quaking stems I pity, no quarter for countless green soldiers besieged. Yet beholding this new world before me, a landscape smothered in this embrace, I see a silver lining to morning's chill. Any guesses? Okay, one last stoking of the stove, and then I'll let it die out. Got a full day ahead, packing up camp, hauling out, getting home. And it's just amazing how life revolves around this stove out here, and the sense of comfort and attachment I have with it. Minus 16 this morning, so I was able to cold camp. Didn't feel too bad. Just winding down here, thinking about the trip and how humbling it is to spend a week, just a week, in nature. It'll make you appreciate how much energy our homes produce
and makes me think about how important it is to not use those resources frivolously or take them for granted either. Blows my mind how anyone ever did this without all of our modern technology and gear and medicine. And not to mention I brought all my food. I didn't have to think about getting food. It would have been nice to get some out here, but I didn't need it. So it's really incredible how, and even the animals, how they do it. And little birds can manage. Like, it's really humbling. And yeah, it's still a ton of effort even with all these modern luxuries, but it's also so therapeutic. These dark months of the year tend to bring me down, and when I got to the lake finally after the long haul in, and my knee injury flared up right then, I just felt very low. I think I mentioned that, and that was putting it lightly. I really felt discouraged and defeated by the knee as much as anything else, but I just wished I could push a button and go home to Aaron. If there was a button, I would have pushed it, but there is no button out here. You have no choice but to push forward. Once I got the tent set up, poured myself a hot drink, and even had the candle lit to warm my fingers over, I felt a little better. The next day, processing firewood and lighting the stove gave me that simple but crucial sense of purpose and built a feeling of self-reliance. Not self-reliance in terms of survival, but really like a mental self-reliance. Restoring my confidence and feeling a sense of worth and meaning. It's amazing how focusing on a simple task can do that for me, and maybe you too. Compared to the world back home that we live in, this complex world can be so daunting and fill me with anxiety. I was listening to Conan's podcast recently, and Michelle Obama was on, and she said during, I think, getting through COVID, that was knitting for her. Just focused her mind. I'll close this trip off with a short poem, not a riddle, not written by me. It was sent in a comment by Alan Kelleron from Scotland, and it was written by Wendell Berry. This poem really struck me, and I wanted to find the right time to share it with you, and thank you to Alan for sharing it with me. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with the forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world. And I'm free.